Hi everyone, it's Deb from Project Life, Deb's Way again. I've got a fantastic double-sided layout for you, this time using the Project Life plastic sleeve system. I've been using, it's an Australian paper line, and as you can tell it is got a lot of the Australian colours and etc. from 13 Arts, and it also has a cut apart sheet. I didn't use this cut apart sheet on mine because I didn't want mine as a travel theme, but if you did, just pop your some travel ephemera on there and then you'll have your theme. Now this one is really outside the box because it didn't have a lot of any florals or sayings and things like that. I've actually made my own. So I have actually painted up some of our beautiful little flowering red gums and everything else, and then I just scanned them through and then put them onto matte photographic paper, and that's how I got my ephemera done. And there will be a link down below where you can actually download the PDF that I used, and I've actually put them up there, so if you wanted to download them you can. And as I said, they're all freehand done. Now the actual layout that I have done, I'll give you a sneak peek. This is the first one, and as you can tell, here are all the flowers that we have done. So there we have one side, and here is the other side. And in this one I have actually done triple layering to give you actual depth in your layout. So I do hope you enjoy this layout and the process that will be coming. I'll give you a sneak peek of what it looks like with the photographs in before we start making the cards. Here's a sneak peek of the finished layout with all the photographs attached. Don't forget, I did actually do all my hand painting of the flowers myself, and I do have a downloadable file for this, which I'll give the information underneath the YouTube where you can actually find that if you want to run them off, which you can do because I haven't copyrighted them or anything else. So let's get on with making our cards. I'm going to start on card number 1. Now I've cut from the didgeridoo paper a 6x4, and then from my green cardstock I have cut a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, just to give me that 1/4 inch border. And as you can see from my little cutting card here, see, it will just give you that little tiny border of 1/8 inch, and then I've downsized it one more size. So this card here is a 5 1/2 by a 3 1/2, which will give you your 1/4 inch border. So what that will do is, as we have our base card, we can then start layering our cards. So I have taped already, and I've distressed all my edges quite darkly this time to get quite a grungy look. And I'm just going to center that card, and as you can see, there's the 1/8 inch border. Now to get another 1/8 inch border, I cut this card that 1/4 inch smaller, so that it will give you that layered look. Now I just did a Live Your Life, and I used the scrap paper that I had on, it's called Hot Summer. So I've just cut a bit of this on here like this, and I've just cut with my scissors, and I'm going, I think, to mount this on the backing paper. So I'm going to stick this flat to begin with, But if you've got stamps, you can use any words you like. I just had that stamp and I quite liked it, because I will be not using this as a travel theme, but it's very easy to make into a travel layout. So we'll just pop that to one side when I make my decision on whether I'm going to lay it. Now, from my stamp collection, I got some tags, and I also got another tag I've distressed around the edge. Now with this, it does come with a cut apart sheet here, which I haven't used because it's not a travel theme that I need to do, but you could use your stamps, and instead of the wording you could use this instead. But I did some hand drawing, and I actually painted my own little flowering gums, run them through my scanner, and then I printed them up and put them through my cutting machine, and I've made them to the right size of what I want. I'm also going to use some twine as well, just to put on the top of my things here, just to add a bit of texture. So I'll just snip a bit of that string off and thread it. I always thread mine from front to back. It's just, if you always do it one way, you sort of remember how it's going. Now I want to, with this, to tie a little ribbon, which I'll go ahead and then I'll come back. Okay, with this one I'm just going to do a little, what I class as a, I've always been told it's called a man bow, with just one little ring, but if you wanted to, that's fine as well. Now this will lay in over this side of your card like that, and then we're going to pop this one underneath like this, and then we're going to raise that over here in the corner. So we definitely want that on some mounting tape. So we'll just quickly pop that on some mounting tape. Ready to go. So once you've got how your layout wants to be, you can sort of semi-deconstruct it to actually get your tapes on there, because that way you sort of know where everything's going to sit and you've got your positioning. Correct. Now with your string, you don't want anything too bulky, because otherwise you'll start introducing bulk to your layouts and you won't fit many pages into your album. So the name of the game is to get layering but without the bulk. Now I'm going to raise this one and have that one flat. So I'm just going to attach some tape with this. Now on my Facebook group I will have the cutting diagrams and also the flowers, which you can download because I haven't copied them from anybody. They're all done freehand, and as I said, that's just a freebie that you can download from the Facebook group. Now we're just going to put this up into the corner, and I want that positioned so it just goes over those two, and this one is going to be flat. Remembering you don't need too much tape because you've got your plastic folder which protects everything, so it really doesn't get the wear and tear that some things do. And I think we'll just put that at a little bit of an angle. And there we have card number 1 completely finished. This is card number 2. Now there is one thing I did here. I needed a small strip, and this has a small paper with all the bits, and I actually cut the strip from here because it was perfect for what I wanted, and I also cut another strip from here as well. And what I've done, I've just distressed the edges and I cut myself a long strip, and then the strip was slightly longer than I needed, so I've just cut it down so I've got a bit either side. And because it didn't look right, I actually cut from my green cardstock, I cut myself a 4-inch little strip out of some of the card that I have left, and of course, as you can tell, it's not long enough, but I do have a photo mat going here. So what I've done is I've just got the card. This is how you can make your papers quite economical, and I'm going to attach these all the way across. So what I will do, we'll put some tape on those. Like that. Now I'm just going to get these pop them not dead in the center. I always bring them down just slightly because it just is more pleasing to the eye than having everything central. And then on the other side, pop it like that. And as I said, your photograph mat will cover all of that. Then I've just got my strip, which I'm going to pop, and I've distressed around the edges in the middle. And it's a way that if you don't have enough paper, you can use some of your scraps to actually get away with that. So we've ended up with a nice stripe. Now here I'm using black photo mats this time, because with the paper with white it's a bit too stark even with your photographs, so I wanted to make my photographs actually come out of the page because it's quite busy. To actually bring my photographs out, I've added the white photo mats. So all of my mats are 3x4s, and then my actual white photo mat is 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that actually gives you, once again with my little cutting mat, it will give you an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, and as you can tell, it does work. Now what I normally do with my photo mats is I always attach my photo mat to my mat first. It is so much easier to do this than having it on your base card. So just attach them together, and there you have your photo mat, which I have got here. And I think with this I have got my drawn flowers there, and I've also, from what my die cuts, got is a little, you can fold it over to make like a tab, but I'm just going to snip mine in half, and I use the other one on my left hand side so that I've got one on each page. So I'm going to pop this, pop my flower on, and I'm going to sort of center that so it's got a border all the way around, but I'm going to pop this, no, it has to come down a bit. So we will bring that down. And leave that you can actually see your little stripe. And then we will attach our clip. Not on the top of the white. I'll get my hands out the way for you. Not the top. You actually want your clip so it looks like it's a clipboard. There we go. And then I'll just pop this on the top. Make sure you don't put any glue on this little bit. And I think we might just put that down flat. Making sure there's no glue on that a little bit. And I tend to do, particularly if you're following along, because I've actually done all the cutting diagrams, I would cut all of your papers and your cards first, and then put them into separate bags to keep them separate, because then when it comes to doing your cards, you've got all your papers there and you can just follow the video and just put your cards together really quickly. This is card 3, once again from the Greenland paper. I have actually taken this card from the middle of the paper. It's a 6x4, which I've distressed around the edges, and I did cut myself a 3" by 3 1/4 piece from the hot summer, and I've distressed around the edges. And what this is for is I'm going to pop this with just an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, sort of halfway into the card. Now I also have found my 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 for my photo mat to go on my 3x4 photo mat, so I'm going to attach those together. Like so, and I will get this even. Okay, that's better. Up there, and put that to one side. Now, if you notice that this is going to sit 1/4 of an inch from the edge, so you can actually bring your tickets down and have a bit of a fiddle with them to see where you want them to sit. Then once you've done that, take your photo mat away and you can attach your ephemera. Otherwise you'll always end up by pulling it to bits because you've got your ephemera in the wrong place. So this way you've got a fair idea where it needs to go. So there's our ephemera attached. Now I'll get my photo mat now I can attach. So I'll center it from top to bottom with that little there over the top of my ephemera, so it's just poking out. And once again I've got my hand painted flowers. and just make sure that you don't have any glue so that you can get your photograph dead in, because if you put glue on here, once the next morning you won't be able to lift it without tearing your card. And there we have card number 3 done. Now here's card number 4, which is once again, if you've cut all your papers, is quite simple. You've got a 6x4 in your green, and then from the Greenland paper I cut a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, which once again just gives me that little 1/8 of an inch border. I've distressed all the edges, and we're going to attach that into the center. Now for my photo mat, because I wanted to match up this card here, because this one's down the bottom of the layout down here, I wanted to sort of match up the green matting, so I've introduced the green twice here. So I have got here a 3x4, and then I've done a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, then I've done a 4 1/2 by 3 1/2, and that actually gives you your 3 layered mat. So once again, I'm building up my photo mat because it's much easier to do that, and as you will tell when you put a photograph in this, it will look really super. Now this is going so you can actually see it will give me that double green mat that I was looking for. Now I've got half a ticket here. I cut one of my tickets in half because I only needed the half. Then I'm going to put my other one just poking out the side here. And as I said, if you wanted to use any of like these here or these, the hats and everything else, you can just pop them in here with your bits like the Australian flag. You could take that and use your flag. There's lots of things that you can do here, and there's some extra words that you can actually put into your layouts as well, if you wanted a travel layout. Now I'm not going to stick this card down yet because I want to attach my ephemera first. So I will find my tape, which has got lost on my desk. So I'm just going to lift that up and poke that in just sort of where I want it. Just going to glue this flower on. I don't think I'll raise it. I'll keep this one flat. And drape that down like that. Then once all that is down, I can attach my photo mat into the center like that, and as you can tell, it does bring your green matting in so that your layout has a consistency to it as an overall layout. Now we're going into making our cards 5A and B together, because in Australia I've been having trouble getting the 6x4 and the 3x4 plastic sleeves. So I've had to revert to, don't know whether you can see it, get that, where I've got the 6x4. And what I'm going to do to keep my album sort of synchronized so that it's the same format, I will be making these into the 3x4s. So how I do that is I just use a piece of backing paper to actually stick whatever I'm doing together, so it looks like the 3x4 separated, but it's in actual fact is a 6x4 card. And how I've done that is I have got my cut down 3x4 with 1/4 inch. So my actual black card is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I will just put this onto the card and use that white as my backing, so that automatically looks like my 3x4. Now to do my normal, what I class as my eye candy card, I have got my 3x4 green, which I'm going to pop on top of that 6x4 like that. So you can actually see that how that will actually physically work. So I will attach that down to my card. Like that. And there we have our two cards. It looks like your two 3x4s. Now I cut the same size as this here, so that that will actually fit just inside. So that's a 3x4 card with 1/4 inch off of the two sides, and I've distressed the edges, and this is from the Greenland paper. And I did use the piece that had the big pattern in it, and I'm going to center that right in the middle, like so. And I have got a couple of tickets here I'm going to just put here, and I've got one of my little flowers which I'm going to mount onto mounting tape. So I'll put my tickets in first. Once again, these were just from my Tim Holtz ticket stamps, which I've used so much. They were really worth the investment because they were quite expensive, but I really have used them a lot. Okay, we'll just cut our bits of backing tape. Or foam dots, or whatever sort of mounting tape that you use. And just put my little, and there we have our 3x4 cards, looking like they're separate cards, but even though they're on a 6x4, and it just means that my album will look the same all the way through as you're going through your pockets. Now here's card number 7. Now with card number 7, this is what I class as my eye candy card. I have used from the Didgeridoo paper. I cut a 6x4. I have distressed the edges, and that is my base card. I then cut a 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 in my green, which I'm just going to lay down the base. Now you can actually see this is very close to card number 1, except card number 1 was that way. We are doing this card to follow suit portrait. Now this came from the Greenland, and I have cut this one down to 3.5 by 5.5, so it goes in, and I've distressed the edges. And you can actually see that this card is following absolutely true to this card, except I'm doing something completely different with my ephemera. And it's a good way to make your layouts similar on both sides. Now when you're doing Projectlife stuff, you can't have a lot of bulk, but it is nice to actually get some layering and some depth. Now with my hand painted flowers, what I'm going to do here, on one of these flowers I've put some mounting tape on the bottom, and I will be putting this other piece flat, so it will give you a raised look. So I've got one completely raised. This one will go underneath, and you'll actually see this one is raised but it's flat, and that will give you a depth to your layout. Now this particular flower, I'm doing a very sneaky little trick. I put a piece of scrap paper onto my piece, and it's sort of like a double layering, and just put it into the card like that, and then put your tape on. And what that does, it will raise that little card so it's not sitting actually super flat. So you've got all different levels, but you have no bulk with your cards. I'll actually tip the card up once I'm finishing attaching everything here and actually show you. I've got a die cut here of Remember This Moment, which I'm going to stick right down the bottom. In the black, I'll just let that dry off, get nice and straight, just let that dry off. So let's attach our flowers. Now I normally attach the top one first, because then you build your layers underneath. So we'll pop that up the top like so. Then this one I want to hang, because the flowering gums always hang from a tree, so you don't actually have them going upwards, because they are growing on a tree, for those people that are not from Australia. And we'll just get that looking where it needs to go. And as you can see, you've got a really nice depth between your flowers here. So our one that's in the middle, we'll pop that underneath until I'm happy with it, so it looks like it is hanging draped. And you can actually see it does raise that card, because if you'd actually put another flower, I'll just put one here, flat, you can actually see it is quite flat. So there we have that card, very, very quickly finished and done. Okay, we're on to card number 8, and how quick is this layout coming together? Now I've just used from the Ayers rock paper, and it was over on the left hand side from the top because it had one of those sort of Aboriginal dot paintings and things on there, which I thought was rather nice. So I've really grunged around the edges. Now with this, I've also got my just over 1 inch, about 1 1/4 inch green strip, and I've cut once again that little paper from the front cover. Once again, this is to match up with the what we did on the other side. So we'll just attach that. And roughly put that about 1 inch from the bottom. Straight across the card, same as we did on the other side with that one with the little border all the way around. Now I've got a few little tickets here which I'm going to pop in. And I also have found my white 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 card, which I shouldn't have taken that off. And I've got my black 3 by 4. I've done all true 3 by 4 photo mats, so when you get your 3 by 4 photograph, just trim 1/8 of an inch off top and side, and it will fit beautifully. Now this is going in the bottom, centered, but don't press the top because you need to get your ephemera tucked underneath. Now I've got a mounted flower, and I've got some tickets here I'm going to pop in. So there we have our we've got to, and also to bring in this from what we put on the other side, we're going to put our little other side of our little clipboard. We'll pop it at the top like that. Probably bring it over a bit so it's centered. It looks like it's doing its job. And I have raised this flower and I've not stuck it down so I can actually get my photograph into that space. And very quickly, if I've got anything hanging over, just go and snip it off, otherwise your cards won't go into your plastic sleeves. Okay, here's card number 9. Now I've used the Air Rock paper, and from the strip I cut just down the side. I'm using the 6 by 4 as my base card. I also have cut a 3 3/4 by 2 1/4 piece from the hot summer paper, and that is going to go down in the bottom 1/8 of an inch, and it is centered. Now with this particular card here, I once again has found my 3 1/4 by 2 1/4 and my true 3x4 photo mat, which I'm going to attach to my white card. In the center. And at the moment I'm going to leave that, just put that to one side. Now with my ephemera, I'm going to put this one down the bottom here. Sort of right in the center. And I've got another one here I want here, but I want it on top of my photo card. So I think now I can attach my photo card. Now this one I'm going to put just up in the top corner. Now this flower here, I've just put a piece of little bit of foam tape on this side. You can actually glue this down once you've got your photograph in place, but you need to be able to get your photograph in there. Now I've got another cluster here, which I'm just going to drape across there. And I've got one of my tickets which I'm going to raise above, so once again you can actually get your photograph in. So you only put your mounting tape on the side. And slant that ticket from the bottom up to the top. And we've got card 9 all done and finished, and I distressed the edges of the base card and the hot summer paper as well. These once again are really easy cards. They're our photo cards, and I have got my 3x4 whites, both of them, and then I trimmed up my black card to 3 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that will allow me that little white border again. Now the plastic folders for these, I've been able to get the 3x4 pockets and the 6x4 pockets, so I'm doing it as I would normally do, not with the one 6x4 card. So there we have 2 photo mats done very quickly. Hi everyone, this is just a quick update. Unfortunately my camera went down when I was filming these, so these are the last 2 cards, 10B and 10D. Now 10B, you have got your 3x4 didgeridoo paper, and you just distress around the outside edges, and then I used the 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 didgeridoo and use the reverse side, and I've distressed the edges there. Now I've got 2 clusters here. I put my postcard centered in the middle, and this flower here is mounted, and this flower cluster here is laying flat, and that finished that card there, which you can put some writing or your title here. Now this card here, I have just backed the everyday moments in the hot summer paper like I did in the first card, and I have mounted that. But what I have done, I've wrapped some twine around this twice and just tied it and attached the note paper down here. I put a little half ticket underneath, and this flower cluster here is actually mounted. Now I have distressed the edges of this, and that will complete your card 10D. Here's the finished layout with all my photographs inserted. I haven't put any of the explanations of the photographs or my journaling as yet, because I'll do that as soon as I've finished this video, and then I can put all of my layouts into my photo album. So I do hope you enjoyed this particular layout, and till next time, keep crafting. Bye.